So the YouTube Rewind came out yesterday, and I had no idea. Much like many traumatic events from my life, the very existence of the YouTube Rewind has been deleted from my memory. I did watch this year's Rewind though, because one of my patrons posted it to my Discord, and it's bad. I don't know what I expected, but it is bad. Not bad in the same way that the 2018 Rewind was bad, where they were actively pouring massive amounts of money into something that was just positively terrible. But this year was just unoriginal, uninspired, and uninteresting. It was a glorified high-budget PowerPoint presentation. It was Watch Mojo if they actually cared enough to learn how to use editing software. And as I sat there feeling nothing, just a complete, utter absence of anything remotely resembling some kind of human emotion, I thought to myself, what the fuck did I even expect from this, innit? I mean, at least they tried to do something different. It's incredibly boring, but it is something different. The fans said, we don't like the Rewind the way that it is, and they changed it. The fans wanted something that's actually verifiably representative of the community, and so they did like the best thing approaching that they could. They went for the most liked videos, most subbed channels, most liked dance videos for some reason. I felt like a proper boomer watching that video, frankly. The very first thing that I even recognized in the entirety of the Rewind was that Billie Eilish song that plays half the way through because it's on my MP3 player. And I think maybe occasionally there was a face that I have seen before on a Philip DeFranco thumbnail. Maybe it's my fault for listening exclusively to like Young Scroll's The Chapo theme and Japanese jazz from 1976 for the past few months, but in the top songs of the year on YouTube, I knew one of them. Exactly one of them. And that one I knew solely because someone else had shown it to me. I hadn't even heard of, much less seen, any of the top YouTube videos this year. Not even the YouTube Royal Wedding, which, I mean, you know, all the happiness to you and all of the best wishes, but I just don't care. On the top new channels, I recognized the kid from Stranger Things because I have seen Stranger Things. The fact that he has a channel now was complete news to me, and I also didn't care. I didn't even know that there were any dancing videos on YouTube. I had never given the matter even a fraction of a thought. And if you look at the dislike bar, if you look, maybe not necessarily in the comment section of that video, but in like other areas where people are actually able to have discussions about it, I'm not the only one that feels utterly out of touch with this whole thing. As a matter of fact, it seems like the majority of all people are just out of touch. And the problem with that is that that's not how being out of touch works in the first place. And while everybody's saying, oh no, this is all because YouTube is so corporate, they don't have the balls to show all the things that the fans actually want anymore, they're so commercialized, I'm sitting here thinking, are we maybe expecting a little too much? Maybe YouTube is too corporate. I mean, probably it has some factor to play in why this whole thing happened as such. But I don't think it's the only factor, and most of all, I don't think it's the most important factor. The reason why this year's Rewind was a fancy slideshow put together by a single unpaid intern over a Ritalin-fueled weekend binge is the exact same reason why last year's Rewind was an overproduced mess and cringe fest of epic proportions. You just can't have good rewinds anymore. It is no longer possible. YouTube has become too big. I mean, imagine they did a yearly rewind of television, which they do, by the way, and it always sucks because TV is way too big. YouTube may not be bigger than television yet, although it is getting there. But it does have a much greater diversity of content already. Right now, I could decide to stop recording this video, get on my computer and watch an Irishman with a speech impediment talk about the history of the didgeridoo for 2 hours. That's something that I can do. The idea of being able to collate all of the most popular videos that the community has enjoyed over the course of the year is a remnant of an age where you can still count all of the really big YouTubers on both hands and both feet. I used to love watching The Rewind. It felt like being on this grand YouTube adventure with so many other people going into the future, and I pretty much knew all of the creators on there. Sometimes one popped up that I had never seen before, then I would actually go to check them out. But that's not because my taste was more mainstream back then. It's not because YouTubers in the olden days were just better than YouTubers now. It's just that there were fewer of them. YouTube is no longer a community. It's 1,000 communities overlapping in circles and stars and sort of weird banana shapes. You can't put together a massive production of all of the most popular YouTubers on the platform and expect people to know even a fraction of them. Because even if you are in the top 100, the overwhelming majority of people on YouTube, chances are they've never even heard of you. And if they have heard of you because you're the talk of the town right now, they're probably not subscribed to you. They probably don't even know what kind of content you produce because they just don't care. They're all in their own little niches. They have their own YouTubers that they like and enjoy and would want to see in the Rewind. And many of them don't even have like a fraction of the success that the big YouTubers have. And that's fine, really. Everyone has their own taste. Everyone appeals to a different audience. There is enough audience to go around. You can't put popular memes from the course of the year into the Rewind anymore either, which you used to be able to do. I remember they used to, like, some kid dancing or singing or whatever, they went viral in summer. You know the kind of stuff that it tends to go viral. And then, you know, they get him in for winter for the Rewind, have him in the video, not just as like an Easter egg, but as a thing that happened this year, and people would watch the Rewind and go, oh yes, oh what a fun meme that brought me so many great and it's funny times that I had forgotten about. But in 2019, memes have sort of changed. Memes used to be pretty much exclusively about being funny. Nowadays, they're a lot more about being ironic, and you can't reference a meme from like a week ago because people will cringe into their seat until they are compressed to a point of infinite mass and density. And what, did you think they were going to put like a Jeffrey Epstein joke in the YouTube Rewind? How was that ever going to happen? Can't talk about politics or like even just big events that happened in the real world anymore either. Even completely innocuous and non-controversial statements like anyone who considers pineapple on pizza not to be a war crime should be summarily executed without trial will inflame crowds like white phosphorus. Rewind is meant to showcase the products of a culture that has been going along similar tracks for the whole year, which year after year has become less and less the case, which is why year after year the YouTube Rewind has become worse and worse. 2019 is the best YouTube can do at this point because ultimately it's just the product of raw data. The only way that I can see the Rewind as an idea make a comeback is if the various different communities on YouTube make their own community rewinds, which I actually think is a pretty good idea. But YouTube's not gonna do that. So go out there, you know, do the rewinds of the videos and the channels that mattered to you personally, because ultimately that's what it all boils down to. Every individual viewer with their vastly divergent tastes being catered to by a huge amount of communities, networks of creators that make great and interesting videos for you. No Rewind is ever going to be able to hit all the notes for that. Quick, relevant channel announcement for the Short Stories channel, who is Betty. I know a lot of you have been complaining that the promised 2 short stories a month that should have been happening for the majority of this year sort of didn't. Most of you know it's not been a great year. I've been depressed most of the time, but I do have a fantastic Christmas present for you all. This December, I am publishing a whopping 10 fully narrated short stories on the Who is Betty channel. That's an unprecedented thing that I will probably never do again. A bunch of them also are very long. And the first two will release on St. Nicholas Day, which you may or may not know is today. So think of it as like a nice piece of chocolate that you found in your boot when you woke up, which is a reference that probably won't make sense to most people. Then on the 24th, which is Christmas Eve and also when Germans get their presents, you will be getting 3 short stories. On the 25th, which is the day where most people open their presents, you will get another 3 short stories. Finally, on the 26th, which is the day where you visit your grandmother and she gives you a 20 that you put in your pocket, you will get another 2 short stories. I know a lot of you have been waiting for this, so that is how I want to end the year and the decade for you. Thank you very much for watching this video. Like, comment, subscribe, do all the things, share this to your relevant communities, but do not spam them. Consider supporting me on Subscribestar, Patreon, following my Twitter. I have not chilled my Twitter in a long time. Shouldn't go there either, it's boring. Maybe buying some of my merchandise or my short story collection book. And in that spirit, show some appreciation to the creators you've enjoyed this year. Think about the people that you found, the people whose content has really had an impact, and let them know. Just go to the comment section of their videos, say, hey, you cool, my man or maness, or anything in between those two things, or other things, and see you around, cunts.